I love obscure random facts about Harry Potter. And I found 32 really fun and random facts that I want to share. Keep track of how many of these facts you knew and let me know in the comments below. I am a deep Harry Potter nerd and I didn't know a lot of these facts, so enjoy these random tidbits of information about Harry Potter. And please make sure to like the video and subscribe for more Harry Potter nerdy content. In the fourth book, Hermione teaches Krum how to say her name, because Joe Rowling was annoyed that people were unable to pronounce it. For the name Hermione, Rowling was looking for an unusual name that a pair of professional dentists who liked to prove how clever they were would use. J.K. Rowling almost killed off all the father figures to Harry during the series. And she nearly even killed off Arthur Weasley in the fifth book of her first draft. She spared Arthur because she realized that she was killing off all the father figures. Dean Thomas was supposed to have a larger role in the story, but his story was dropped in order to give more time to Neville, and Dean's original name was supposed to be Gary. Hermione Granger and Draco Malfoy's original names in the first few drafts were Hermione Puckle and Draco Spungen. When Molly is dealing with the boggart at Grimmauld Place, it briefly turns into Fred and George dead, together, because even in her worst fears, she never imagined them separated. If you've ever wondered what happened to the three-headed dog Fluffy in the first book and movie, never fear. Rowling said in an interview after the book's release that Fluffy was let loose in the Forbidden Forest where he makes his home. The Leaky Cauldron is protected by an ancient Fidelius charm. Harry doesn't see the pub until Hagrid specifically shows him where it is, meaning that most wizards are secret keepers of the location and pass the secret down to everyone they've told about it when they die. Wandwood is actually quite important, and different types of Wandwoods choose different kinds of witches and wizards. Each Wandwood also has a field of magic that they are better at. That said, only 2 characters in all of Harry Potter have U Wandwood, Voldemort and Ginny. So the mortal enemy of Harry and the love of his life both share the same Wandwood, which is just thoroughly interesting. In the first book, Ron originally swore so much that the editor made her change it. There are girls on every single Quidditch team in Hogwarts except for Slytherin. There were no girls on the Slytherin Quidditch team in any of the books. J.K. Rowling actually confused the King's Cross station with Euston Station, which is why the location of platform 9 3/4 doesn't quite add up with the real location. But what's even funnier is that it doesn't even add up with the Euston platform as well. In Goblet of Fire, there was going to be a Slytherin cousin of the Weasleys named Mafalda, who would have had Rita Skeeter's role, but she cut the characters early on in a draft. Hermione was going to have a Muggle sister, but Rowling made it too far in the series to introduce her, and so she just gave up the plot. Rolf Scamander, the man that Luna marries, was supposed to be at the Lovegood house in the Deathly Hallows when the trio visits. But Rowling decided to develop Luna's father more rather than just give any hints of a potential love interest of Luna. Florian Fortescue, the ice cream parlor owner, was originally going to survive, and he was supposed to be the one that tells Harry about the Deathly Hallows. Something that Rowling struggled with in the first few drafts was her decision of what to do with Ron in the series. Ron was originally going to die, but luckily she changed it so that he lived through the end. Rowling wanted Harry to visit the Hufflepuff common room, but couldn't quite figure out how to make him do so. So she abandoned that plotline. Hufflepuff's cup was originally going to be a cauldron. Hermione's dad was originally the person who was meant to save Harry and bring him to his aunts in an early draft of Philosopher's Stone. In the early draft, Harry and his parents were on a secluded island, and Hermione's dad, who was a sailor, witnessed the death of Harry's parents from afar. In a wild turn of events, Jo Rowling was eventually going to make Dudley Dursley have a magical son. Hermione gives Harry Murtlap essence to heal his injuries from Umbridge's detention. Later, Lee Jordan is also suffering from Umbridge's detention. So, Harry tells him about the Murtlap. Then, with Lee's knowledge, the Weasley twins are able to perfect their fever fudge and skiving snapboxes using Essence of Murtlap. So Hermione was the savior of Weasley Wizard Wheezes all along. The last word in the series was supposed to be Scar, but Rowling wanted to end on a positive note, so she changed it to Well. The man that inspired Ron owned a Ford Angelina, and apparently was someone that Rowling had a massive crush on. J.K. Rowling wrote the first 2 books of Harry Potter in a coffee shop near a cemetery where she got a lot of the names for the characters. She was so broke that she couldn't afford to heat her apartment, so she went to the coffee shop so she could stay warm while writing. She wrote the final book in a hotel room in Edinburgh, and supposedly carved something into the desk when she finished. This is a really depressing fact, but more than half of the main cast of the movies are now deceased. One of Harry Potter's stunt doubles was paralyzed on set in the Deathly Hallows. It happened in the Nagini and the Godric's Hollow fight scene. In German, Newt Scamander has an additional middle name, Lurch. In the first translation of the Philosopher's Stone, they accidentally translated his first name. So, in an attempt to save it, they just added it as another middle name. Tom Felton's grandfather played an unnamed professor in the first movie. The actors of Trelawney and Gilderoy were actually married. But funny enough, he cheated on her with none other than Bellatrix Lestrange. In real life, of course. The kids once drew a picture of Alan Rickman with a large nose, and it was not meant to be flattering. When they turned around, he was looking at it over their shoulders and thought it was so cute and funny that he asked them to sign it, and he took it home and hung it on his wall. The book publisher, Scholastic, suggested the title of Jo Rowling's first book to be called Harry Potter and the School of Magic. But Rowling later picked Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I think all of us are grateful for that one. And finally, it's a little known fact, but Sirius Black was actually the famed singer of Stubby Boardman of the Hobgoblins.